Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear class, I hope all of you are fine at your home. I have prepared this lecture by consulting these three books which are provided on this slide. I have also uploaded all the full text of all the three books on the LMS page of your course. So if you want to study the detail of this topic or to enhance your knowledge, please go to the LMS page of recommended books and read from these books also. Outline or learning objectives for this lecture include the introduction about STS page, what is meant by STS page, what is the principle of STS page, what chemicals are used in STS page and for what purpose they are used, means what is the function of those chemicals. Then we will see step by step the procedure that how STS page is performed, what kind of apparatus is used to prepare the gel, and how the sample loading is done, and how we come to know that our protein has been appeared on the gel or not. So first we will see the introduction of STS page. STS page is abbreviation of sodium dodecyl sulfate is for STS, and for page we call it as the polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. It is known as polyacrylamide because we use two kinds of acrylamide solution. One is acrylamide and the second one is bisacrylamide, and the gel is formed by the polymerization of these acrylamide. Therefore this is known as polyacrylamide, and we use the same kind of current supply that we provided in the agarose gel electrophoresis. Therefore it is known as the electrophoresis technique, and this technique is mostly used to separate the proteins on the basis of their size, just like we performed the age in which we said that DNA is isolated on the basis of the size. Like if we run different fragments of the DNA, smaller fragment will appear down and then larger one and then larger one. This fragment is of 100 base pair, upper one will be of 200 base pair, then 300 base pair. Here the separation of the DNA has occurred on the basis of the size of the DNA. Similarly, we use polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis for the separation of protein on the basis of size. Principle is same, that the large size protein will stay on upper side of the gel and the small size protein will move down fast in comparison to the large size. For example, this is 10 kilodalton protein and this is 50 kilodalton protein. For protein, we use the unit of Dalton for molecular weight measurement, and for DNA, we know that we use the unit of base pair. So, you should keep in your mind the difference between the units of the protein molecular weight and the DNA molecular weight. As the polypeptide chain, how much length of polypeptide chain has, it will tell you about its molecular weight because it is directly proportional with one another. If the size of the polypeptide chain is more, it means that the molecular weight will be more, and if the size of the polypeptide chain is less, it means that the molecular weight of the protein will be less and it will move faster through the gel matrix. Principle is the same as we studied in case of agarose gel electrophoresis, but the major difference is that in case of agarose gel electrophoresis, we know that DNA molecule has many phosphate groups and it has negative charge. Due to its negative charge, when we supply the electric current having the negative terminal and positive terminal, then the DNA will move from negative terminal to the positive terminal. Because DNA has a negative charge, it will move towards the positive terminal. What will happen in case of protein? Now the question arises, because proteins are made up of, we know that proteins are made up of amino acids, and amino acids are of different types. there are acidic amino acid and there are basic amino acid. Due to acidic amino acid, protein can have a negative charge, and due to the presence of basic amino acid, protein can have a positive charge. So what will be the charge on a protein? It depends upon the total number of acidic and total number of basic residues. As the composition of each protein is different, means the sequence of every protein is different, and as well as the types of the amino acid is different, so every protein has a different charge. Not all proteins carry the same charge. There are certain proteins which have the negative charge due to the presence of more acidic residues in comparison to the basic one. There are certain proteins which have more positive charge due to the presence of the basic amino acids in comparison to the acidic amino acids. So what will happen on the gel? When we run the protein on the gel, there will be the confusion, because the negatively charged proteins will move toward the positive terminal and positively charged protein will then move out into the gel, because here is the negative terminus and here is the positive terminus. To prevent this confusion between the proteins, that how the protein movement will occur, we use a chemical which is actually a detergent, which is known as sodium dodecyl sulfate. This sodium dodecyl sulfate, it is having a negative charge because of the presence of the sulfate. It is sodium dodecyl sulfate, and due to the presence of the sulfate, it contains negative charge. So when we treat our protein with sodium dodecyl sulfate, it gives negative charge to the protein. It means that now for example, this is the protein. We treat this protein with STS, and STS will bind with the protein and it will give the negative charge to the protein. I will show you on the coming slides that how STS interact with the proteins. So now proteins have a negative charge just like the DNA. So when we have to run the protein on STS page, we will treat the protein samples with the STS and then we will run our samples. Due to STS, the protein structure will get denatured, because now the protein has overall negative charge due to the binding of the STS molecules with the amino acids of the protein. Therefore, we call this type of page as STS page. There is another kind of page which is known as the native page. In native page, we have to run the proteins according to the charge on the protein of interest. If we want to study the proteins in their intact form, like we don't want the protein to get disrupted in their structure or to open up or to we can say another appropriate word, which is the denaturation of the protein, because STS will causes the denaturation of the protein. And if we want to study the protein in its intact form, that protein should have its intact structure like this one, then we will have to run the native page. And for this purpose, we should know the charge on our protein. Either it is negatively charged or positively charged. According to the kind of the charge the protein will carry, we will provide the current supply to the protein for the isolation of the intact protein by using the native page. Another important thing is that we use the native page when we study the different interaction experiments. If you recall the research articles that your class has presented, the fourth group article in which they have used a technique of EMSA, which is electrophoretic mobility shift assay, in which we have checked the interaction between DNA and protein. For that purpose, we have used the labeled probe of the DNA. We have incubated it with the intact protein that we have purified by overexpressing that protein. And then we have checked on the gel what is the result. That when the protein and DNA, they combine with one another or they interact with one another, then the size will become larger and band appear on the upper side. And when there is no interaction, you can see the labeled DNA at the bottom of the gel, and for that purpose we use the native gel, because now protein will be able to interact with its proper DNA sequence, which is the cis acting sequence we will call it. It will bind with the cis acting sequence in its native state, because if we treat the protein with the STS, then protein will become denatured and it will not be able to perform its function. So if you want to study the intact protein, the protein is performing the intact function, for that purpose we run the native page. But for the study of the recombinant proteins in biotechnology, we mostly perform the STS page. For that purpose we treat our sample with STS. Other two chemicals from which its name is derived, I have told you, we make combination of acrylamide and bisacrylamide chemicals, because acrylamide, it polymerizes with the help of a cross-linking agent, and that cross-linking agent is a bisacrylamide, right? And we prepare this solution in a tris buffer. We use tris buffer to prepare acrylamide and bisacrylamide solution. Then there is a need of a catalyst to start the reaction of polymerization. This function of the catalysis is performed by two chemicals, one of which is the TAMID and other one is ammonium persulfate. We will discuss in detail how they perform their function and how the catalysis function is performed in the coming slides. So on this slide, we will see what will happen to the protein when we treat protein with STS. So here we are treating the protein with STS, and mixing the protein with the STS, we need to boil it. Heat plus STS, it plays important role in denaturing the protein. Sodium dodecyl sulfate that is being used, we used approximately 1.4 grams of STS for per gram of protein. It means that if we see how many STS molecule will bind to amino acid, so it is binding of one STS molecule per 2 amino acid. One STS molecule will bind with the 2 amino acids and it will give negative charge. It acts as a surfactant. It masks the protein intrinsic charge. If we say that the intrinsic charge, it means that the charge that the protein carries naturally depending upon the sequence of the protein. So when STS bind with the amino acid, as we said that there is a binding of the one STS molecule per 2 amino acid, then this intrinsic charges of the proteins, they become negligible in comparison to the STS loading, and so the positive charge are greatly reduced if there are basic proteins like which contain the more positive residues, because there is more binding of the STS residues with this. So when we heat the protein by mixing the protein with the STS in a solution, we provide the heat, and this is actually the molecule of the STS. These molecules of the STS will bind with the polypeptide chain, and you can see the difference in the structure of the protein. First, this is the native structure of the protein, and when STS will bind with it, you can see it has caused the denaturation of the protein by binding of the negatively charged sodium dodecyl sulfate with it. So STS binding will impart a constant charge to mass ratio to the protein. Constant means the same, that is the negative charge. So it will give the negative charge to the protein. Then we talk about the two chemicals that are used for polymerization, and these two chemicals are acrylamide as well as the bisacrylamide. And for their polymerization, this is the bisacrylamide which act as a cross-linker, and these are the acrylamide. So these pink color shows the presence of the acrylamide, and this green color, it shows the bisacrylamide, which it is a monomer of bisacrylamide, and for the initiation of the cross-linking between the acrylamide and bisacrylamide, we need certain chemicals that we talk about. That we need ammonium persulfate, which is also known as APS, and we need another chemical which is tamide. They actually provide the free radicals to initiate a polymerization reaction. We use ammonium persulfate and tamide for polymerization because ammonium persulfate, it is an oxidizing agent. This APS, it is an oxidizing agent, and along with tamide, it is used to catalyze the polymerization of acrylamide and bisacrylamide. So when the APS is not available, then we use another important reagent which is known as the riboflavin, but mostly we use APS for carrying out the polymerization of acrylamide and bisacrylamide. We need to be very cautious when we are dealing with the STS page chemicals, because these acrylamide and bisacrylamide, if they are unreacted or they are in the monomeric form, these are actually the neurotoxins. If you inhale some of the acrylamide or bisacrylamide when it is not polymerized, then it can cause damage to your brain. And polyacrylamide gel is also inert when it is formed in a polymeric form. Therefore, you need to be very careful when you deal with the acrylamide and bisacrylamide, as well as the smell of the tamide is also very pungent. That's why you need to be very careful and very attentive when you are dealing with STS page chemicals. So here you can see the structure of the bisacrylamide, and here it is acrylamide, and here these are the acrylamides which become linked to one another with the help of this cross linker. You can see these two acrylamide monomers, they combine with a cross linker and more acrylamide, and this is the bisacrylamide molecule, and it is acting as a cross linker. It is cross linking all the acrylamide molecule. As you can see, this CH2 and NH and NH, double bond over CH, CH2. So this green color is showing the cross linking reaction between the acrylamide and bisacrylamide, and this cross linking will result in the formation of the polyacrylamide gel, that by their polymerization the gel is formed, which is known as polyacrylamide gel. And we use that gel for the isolation of the protein, because just like we studied in the agarose gel electrophoresis, page will also form in the polymerized form. It will become solid, and it is more, you can say, strong one as compared to the agarose gel, but it is more thin in comparison to the agarose gel, and you can get the idea of its thickness when we will study about the procedure, that how the experiment is performed and how the gel is prepared. Then you will see that how thin is this gel in comparison to the agarose gel. And agarose gel that we run it for that purpose, we use the horizontal apparatus, and for this STS page, when we are dealing with the polyacrylamide gel, we need to run it in the vertical position. So we need to polymerize the gel in this direction. There are the chances of the leakage as well. How can we protect that, and what kind of apparatus is used, we will study in detail. Now we will see the major components of the gel that are major, or we can say that major chemicals of the gel that are being used, and how we can prepare this gel. So first you should understand the major difference between the discontinuous gel and continuous gel. Mostly when we are dealing with the proteins overexpression, and we need to purify the protein from bacterial protein, or we need to isolate the total bacterial protein, because we are using bacteria as a host. And when we lyse the bacterial cell, that we have discussed previously. Then we sonicate it and we have a mixture of protein in the tube, and we have to run that mixture on the gel. Mostly for proteins we use the discontinuous gel. The STS page or page is divided mainly into two types, one of which is the continuous gel and the other one is the discontinuous gel. Continuous gel means you are using just one kind of gel. For discontinuous, you are preparing two different kinds of gel. This is only one type of gel and this is one and two type of gel. When we say that discontinuous gel, for that purpose we are using the two types of gel, and we call them, the upper one is known as the stacking gel and the lower one is known as the running gel, and it is also known as the resolving gel. In case of continuous gel, we use only resolving gel. For that purpose, we are not preparing any stacking gel. What is the purpose of the stacking gel and what is the difference between the stacking gel and running gel, we will discuss now. In case of stacking gel, the percentage of the gel is less. We use less percentage as well as we use the less pH. It means that ionic strength is kept lower because we are using the less concentration of the salt, and the ionic strength is related to the salt concentration in the buffer. So we are using only 0.125 molar tris HCl. It has a lower ionic strength and we are using the less percentage, and when the percentage is less, it means that the pore size is large, and when the percentage is more, it means that the pore size will be the small. The pore size that will result when the acrylamide and bisacrylamide will polymerize to form the gel. So stacking gel is used to stack the samples. These are the wells in which sample is loaded, and when we isolate the proteins of the bacterial host, this material is very sticky, and if we directly load this sample on the resolving gel, that if we skip the stacking gel, then the movement of all the samples will not be uniform. It will not show any uniformity. Some sample will move earlier in comparison to the other one. So for the samples to get stacked, to get at one line, which is the line of differentiation between the stacking gel and resolving gel, we prepare a less percentage of gel having the large pores so samples can pass through it and they will stay over here. So we prepare the discontinuous gel mostly when we deal with the protein that we purify from the gel, and we run the sample in these wells. We provide the electric current, and for providing the different kind of or different electric current is provided. For instance, we provide the less current when it is in the stacking gel, so it will take time to get settled down in the well and then move, and then we can track the movement of the samples. When sample reach at the edge of the stacking gel and resolving gel, then we change the electric current or the power supply that we have provided to it. So now we will see the composition of the running gel or resolving gel. Now what is the purpose of the resolving gel? As its name is showing, resolving gel have to resolve the proteins, resolve or separate the proteins which are present in the sample. For that purpose we are using the high ionic strength. As you can see, the concentration of the buffer is 0.375 molar. It is not the standard one. We can use the different concentrations or different kinds of buffers can be used for preparing these gels. Like we can use the tris glycine buffer mostly. So for that purpose we will use the less concentration of the tris glycine in the stacking gel and more concentration in the resolving gel, that is 0.375 molar. For example, it is tris HCl or tris glycine, and as you can see the pH is also more. pH also affect the movement of the protein. Now the pH is toward the basic side and proteins have a negative charge, so they will move toward the positive electrode. And we are using the more percentage of the acrylamide. Why? Because now we need to separate the proteins in this form, and in that case we need the small pore size. small pore size will cause the more separation or more good resolution of the proteins on the gel. Then it is not compulsory that we always use the 12% acrylamide in the resolving gel. The person who is working on it, like investigator, he can or she can adjust the acrylamide concentration to manipulate the gel pore size, and it also depends upon the size of the protein. If you recall the age, we said that we use the different percentage of the agarose gel depending upon the size of the DNA, that we use the 1% or 1.5% or 0.5% or 2%. It depends upon the kind of the band that we want to separate. Either it have a size of 1 to 3 kb or many more, like smaller size will get separated when we use the more percentage. Similarly, if the protein size is smaller, then we can prepare gel by using the 15% acrylamide solution. So it depends upon the kinds of the protein or the size of the protein that we want to separate out. As I have told you before that the protein migration, it also vary in the stacking and running gel because we are using the different conditions. Now if we recall the difference between the stacking gel and resolving gel that we have discussed in this slide, we can say that stacking gel is used to stack or to collect the samples at one point, and running gel is used to resolve or to separate out the proteins from one another. Then a low concentration of the buffer is used in the stacking gel and more concentration of the buffer is used in the resolving gel. And due to the low concentration, the stacking gel has the lower ionic strength, the resolving gel has the higher ionic strength. We use the large pore size in the stacking gel by using the less percentage of the acrylamide, while in case of polyacrylamide, in case of running gel, we use the more percentage of the acrylamide gel. As I told you that we are using the different kind of buffers, and we also use glycine as a buffer because glycine buffers are preferable when we talk about the STS page. Glycine, we know that it is an amino acid, and this amino acid does not have any R group. So ionization of glycine in running buffer is very important, and it is a key to protein separation because when the glycine ionizes, there will be the different pK values. And how the ionization process is carried out: ionization means there is the gain of electron or there is a loss of electron, and gain of electron or the loss of electron or the loss of proton or gain of proton, it can causes or make a change on the charge of that molecule. So here you can see this is an amino group and this is the carboxyl group. Here it is C, it is C, this is COO. So both amino and carboxyl group, they are charged in the stacking gel. When the pH is 6.8, it is approximately equal to neutral pH, which is 7, and at that position they contain the charge, like there is it has the positive charge due to an additional proton, and it has a negative charge because the proton is lost. Carboxyl group is COOH. Now this H is lost and it has gained an H, so it becomes charged. So both the amino group and carboxyl group, they are charged. It has the positive charge due to the presence of one extra hydrogen, and it has a negative charge due to the loss of the hydrogen. But when the pH of the resolving gel is changed, like in the running gel, we use the pH of 8.8. Now the pH is on the basic side. It means that the amino group will lose some positive charge to have in the running gel. When the pH will move towards the basic charge, the proton will get less, because more proton means less charge, and less proton means having the more pH, right? More proton means less pH, because if the proton concentration is more, it is acidic one, and if it has the more we can say that if it has a less proton, it means that the pH is more. As you can see Here this is the acidic pKa value and this is the basic pKa value. So glycine plays a major role. It is a major component of the gel running buffer. What are the pK values? These are the pH at which the charge, or we can say that the pKa shows a relationship with the pH value. It is actually the negative log of Ka and Ka value. So if the pK value is lower, it indicates that the strong acid, just like the low pH strong acid, and if the pK value is more, it means that it is a strong base. So pK value, it is a one method which is used to indicate the strength of an acid or a base. And because of the glycine property having the both acidic and basic properties at the pH 6.8, which is approximately neutral pH, having the zero charge, because this positive charge will get cancelled by this negative charge, and at the pH 8.8 it will lose the proton. It has also lost its extra proton, and so it is losing the positive charge from here. So what will happen at the start? For example, we are using the running buffer as the TrisHCl and glycine, and we also add the STS in the running buffer, and the pH is 8.3, right? And this blue color is actually showing the samples that we have loaded the samples in the wells. These are 5 wells, and this is the stacking gel that we have discussed, and this is the resolving gel. So we will run the samples in the wells. They are loaded into the wells, and the blue color is actually due to the bromophenol blue, which is used as a tracking dye. As you can see, it is written over here, bromophenol blue. We add it in the sample buffer. Sample buffer is a buffer in which we prepare the sample, and in it we add the bromophenol blue, which is used to track the sample. As we have loaded it in the well, we know that the sample is in the well. What will happen next? When we apply the voltage, when the voltage is applied, it has a negative terminal and positive terminal. We attach the negative terminal port and the positive terminal port, and we supply the voltage. Then we are using the buffer, which is made up of TrisHCl and glycine. So it has the chloride ions. So chloride ions in the stacking gel buffer, they move rapidly towards the positive pole, right? Glycine molecules, they also have entered the stacking gel because the buffer is we have filled up all the gel with the buffer, and we know that proteins are negatively charged due to STS, and they will run at various rates through the stacking gel because the stacking gel pore size is larger. As you can see, this was the well, and now samples has entered into the stacking gel. Glycine will move more slowly in comparison to the protein because very few glycine molecules have a negative charge because of the pH of the stacking gel, which is 6.8. Chloride ion has a negative charge, as well as the protein samples have a negative charge. They will enter into the stacking gel, while the movement of the glycine will be slow because the glycine will not completely ionizes and can carry the negative or positive charge, because at the pH of 6.8 glycine will have a charge of 0. Then now you can see the sample has reached at the edge of the stacking and resolving gel. Here the pH was 6.8 and here pH is the 8.8. Now there is the differential migration of the chloride and glycine ion in the stacking gel and resolving gel, and in the buffer that we have provided. So there is it will create a potential difference, and it helps to concentrate the protein over here. All the proteins will set up over here, or we can say that the proteins stack up at the interface between the two gels. Now the proteins are ready to enter into the resolving gel. Now we will change the current. What will happen to the glycine? Now it will loses its proton from the amino group, and so that it will loses its positive charge and it has the negative charge, and now the samples are able to move in the running gel. Right now glycine movement will be more because of the negative charge in comparison to the stacking gel. Now the glycine has a negative charge, it will move more rapidly than the proteins at the pH of the running gel, and now the proteins will migrate, and migration of the protein is invisible in the running gel, and it is inversely proportional to their molecular weight, because if the protein has more weight it will stay up, and if the protein molecular weight is low it will move down. We can only track the tracking dye, which is the bromophenol blue, but we cannot see the proteins, that what is the rate of migration of the protein, we do not know about it. Proteins, they are resolved by size on the running gel. So dear students, I will stop here. In today's lecture we started about studying the sodium dodecyl sulfate polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis, which is used to separate out the proteins that for instance we have isolated from the bacteria. Like we have a recombinant vector that we have expressed in bacteria, and there are many copies of the vectors are formed, and then we use the bacterial host for the production of the protein. The gene is present for which the gene is present on the plasmid, and then we have also induced the expression of the protein by using a reagent which is IPTG. This IPTG will cause the more production of our protein in comparison to all the other proteins, because of course in bacteria the protein synthesis process will get continued for the bacterial proteins as well, but due to the use of the IPTG, which will have effect on the promoter, which is showing the transcription of our gene, and so it will produce the more messenger RNA of our gene, and production of the more messenger RNA means production of the more protein. So our protein will be more in comparison to all the other bacterial protein. We want to check whether our protein is expressed or not. We need to run the STS page, and for STS page we have seen the principle that we make use of the polyacrylamide gel, which is prepared by acrylamide and bisacrylamide polymerization with the help of APS and TAMID, two chemicals which will act as a catalyst. Then we treat the protein with the STS to give the negative charge to the protein so that the protein can move towards the positive terminus. And we use different percentage of the acrylamide gel depending upon the size of the sample. Movement of the sample is same as we studied in case of agarose gel electrophoresis, that the small fragment will move faster in comparison to the medium one and the large one. Then we studied about the discontinuous and continuous gel, that mostly we use the discontinuous gel in which we need to prepare the two gel, one of which is the stacking gel and other one is the resolving gel, and stacking gel is used to stack all the samples together at this point, and then they entered into the resolving gel. We provide the different concentration of the current to it, and now the pH is also different in the resolving gel, which will affect the structure of the glycine, which is important component of the buffer. And then we can track the movement with the help of the bromophenol blue, that how much sample has moved. We will continue the discussion on the STS page, and also we will study about its apparatus and procedure in the next lecture. So if you have any question from this lecture, please feel free to ask. Thank you.